Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now today I've started building this stud wall here. Now, I've taken time out to show you how I build them and the processes I go through and the equipment that I use. Right, so I've got to build the stud walls out to hide the old window. This is an extension, by the way. So there's a window there that's getting boarded up and there's a couple of soil pipes as well which need boxing in. So I decided just to stud right over them. So the first thing was set out where I wanted it. So there's the sole plate. This is all 4x2 timber, CLS timber, so it's structural grade. So I set that out and I screwed that down into the floor. Now in this corner there's a gas pipe, therefore I had to pack the first stud off the wall, and there's electrics as well. So I packed it off the wall with some offcuts. Once the sole plate's in position, then I plumbed up the wall with a level so I could get the top piece in place. So I plumbed it up, put marks on the wall, a permanent marker, so it was easy to see. Then I stacked two pieces of timber on top of each other. So it represents the top and bottom plates. And then I measured to the ceiling, and that gave me the size of the stud. So once I had two studs cut, I put one there, and that gave me the position on the ceiling. And this one here. So I wedged the top plate into position on this end. Then I used this plasterboard prop, so you can get a better picture, just to prop the other end up while I got a fixing into it. So I fixed that end, got a rough position on this end, and then plumbed down. And then I screwed the top plate into the ceiling. Next it was just a case of cutting and putting studs in. Now if you're lucky enough to have a pass load gun, it makes the job a lot easier. But I don't really use mine anymore. I don't really do a lot of studding, so I tend to use screws. Now Optimax sent me these 100mm by 5mm screws. So if you look at them, they've got a, try and focus in on that. If you look at them, they've got a tip that pre-drills, so you don't have to drill a pilot hole. And there's little notches which makes it drive in very easily. So if you look at them, they're double reinforced, extra sharp, coated with lubricant, razor sharp point, and self countersinking head. I highly recommend these, and I will be buying them again. So anyway, I take them and I just drive them down on an angle. So let's get on with the last two studs. So depending on what your floor and your ceiling are like, each stud will probably be slightly different. But I've been lucky enough here, it's a new extension. The floor's nice and level, the ceiling's nice and level. So every stud's been the same length. I've been really lucky with that one. Right, it does help if you've got a nice big chop saw like this, but you can do it with a smaller chop saw, or you could even do it by hand. It'd just take a lot longer and be a lot more hard work. Now I forgot to mention a minute ago that I'm using 1200mm by 2400mm plasterboards. So if you see the black marks, they're my centres. So I've done them every 400mm. So what I mean by 400 centres is where the centre of the stud is, it's 400mm. And then another 400, so 800. And then 1200, which is the width of the plasterboard. So half of one plasterboard will be on this side and the other plasterboard will be on that side, so I can get a fixing on both plasterboards into the one stud. Right, I'm filming a bit far away here, but I'll try and explain what I'm doing. There's the centre mark up there. So I'm putting the timber on that mark, straddling it, and trying to keep it in place at the top. Then at the bottom, just hammer it over until it's in position. Just knock it over until it's in position. Make sure it's on your centre line. Make sure it's nice and flush. Then, as I said before, these screws don't even need a pilot hole. So the 100mm screws, they're going into 50mm timber. So I'll start a couple of inches up and drive them in at an angle. And it helps if you've got an impact driver as well. So start off going in straight, just to get a bite, and then just angle the screw. And drive it home. And get your square. Make sure your stud's square. If it's not, give it a little tap. Then drive your other screw in. And then just repeat it at the top. Okay, so here at the top, the two screws are driven in at an angle, and I've driven two screws in there into the ceiling joist, and I've repeated that all along. So I'll get my last stud in, and then I'll show you about the noggins. The last job now, before plasterboard, is to put the noggins in. Now noggins are pieces, small pieces that go between the studs to stop them twisting, and they also take the edges of the board so you can get a screw on the edge of the board. Now because this is a kitchen, I'm actually going to leave the bottom open so I've got access to the plumbing. Right, so I'm having kitchen units along here, and worktop height is about 900mm. So I'm going to come below the 900mm mark, but above where all my services are. So I've still got access to them because we're having a dishwasher here and a fridge there, so they can be pulled out and I can get access behind here, you see. I'm going to leave the boards full size and I'll do 2.4. Make it nice and simple. So from the ceiling down, put a mark at 2.4. The same this side. Then with a chalk line, put it on one mark. Stretch it over to the other one. And then just ping it. So I measured down from the ceiling. It's 2.4, which is my pencil mark just there. And the other pencil mark there. And then I pinged the blue chalk line all the way across. So if I take this off cut and show you what I'm doing. So that's going to be the bottom of the board coming down from the ceiling. So if I put my noggins there, like that, I'll be able to screw the edge of the board into these noggins. So I just need to measure between the studs now. So 3, 3, 1. So 3, 3, 1 there. So get your noggin, put it in at an angle. And the first one always goes in quite easy. Now, if I was putting another board here, I'd go centre of this line. Like that. So it'll catch the edge of both boards. But because I'm not putting a board here, I can put the full noggin there for the sheet above. And because this is the first one, we can drive the screws straight in. Make sure it's going in square. Drive the second screw straight in. Right, so with the second noggin, it's a very similar process. Just tap it into place. Now, for this side, now I know a lot of people, they'll stagger the noggins so they can drive the screws straight in. So one will be there, one will be up there, so you can drive the screws straight in. Now I don't like that. I like to have straight noggins so you can fix your board right across. So all I do here is drive the screws in at an angle. So I'm just pulling it flush. It's on my mark. Just drive the screw in at an angle. Just like that. So I've just got to finish off the row of noggins in there, and then I'll put a centre row of noggins in there just to take any whip out the wall, give it a bit more structural strength. Okay, so a little bit of a problem. There must be a little bit of a twist in that stud, which has made that noggin stick out a bit. Here's a little tip for you. So as you can see, I've driven a small screw in there. All I do is get my hammer, hook it onto the screw and lever it back until it goes flush, and then drive the screw in. So that's made the noggin nice and flush, and it's pulled the other stud out of twist. Right, so I've got the second row of noggins in there, and it's not going anywhere, it's dead strong. So that's how I build a climbing frame, a stud wall. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.